Shabbat shalom, everyone. Again, it's so lovely to be here, and I thank you all for your presence and for your welcome. I'm really feeling the energy of a Gudis and getting to know people, and it's a great energy and very friendly and positive, and so I'm really grateful. So thank you all for all those who've welcomed me and made this visit possible. So a lot of my life recently has been about looking to the future. In my last year of rabbinical school, uncertain of exactly where I will land, people are constantly asking me, "Do you have a job yet?" And my school, Hebrew College, also adds to this forward-looking tendency. Even as we are nominally still students taking classes, we are bombarded with emails about ordination. What size tallis do you want? How many guests will you have coming? This is just a gentle reminder that your personal statement is due by the 25th. But perhaps more meaningful than these logistical concerns, we've also been tasked to choose which faculty member will present us with our talit and which will give us our blessing. The choice of a teacher to give me a blessing felt especially daunting. How can I choose amongst my beloved teachers? Who could best bless me? Who would represent me well and connect to my energy, spiritual pursuits, and dreams after 5 years of work and growth? Some could even say the blessing itself is really immaterial to my actual future. And yet, there still seems to be a power to giving and receiving a blessing in a transitional moment after so long a journey. While our Parsha is mainly focused on the final accounting of the holy objects of the Mishkan, God's dwelling place, there is a momentary shift in the narrative once all the work is completed by the people. For an instant, the Parsha departs from the logical details of these items, and something surprising happens. Moshe blesses the people Israel for the first time ever recorded in the Torah. It's easy to miss this moment amongst the sometimes tedious detailing and listing of items, but precisely because it is fleeting and distinct, the Torah is asking us to pay attention to this action. A move all the more surprising because not so long before this narrative, the people had sinned so completely in the making of the golden calf, a sin that was specifically done out of the sight of their teacher Moshe. And now, as a kind of tikkun, a repair for their previous sinful use of precious donations, the people make a point to bring the Mishkan and all its components before Moshe, out of pride, yes, but also to show him that they have learned their lesson and are ready to use their resources for good and take seriously God's commandments. This blessing also signals a new stage in the relationship between Moshe and the people Israel he leads. Moshe, you'll remember, went from unwilling leader to being confident in his task, but seemingly not having much emotional relationship with the people he leads, to watching them betray the God who saved them from servitude in the most spectacular way, all the way to this complete reversal, where he is finally moved by their actions, so much so that he is inspired to bless them. God never commanded Moshe to do so. This was a free will offering from Moshe's heart. My teacher, Rabbi Nehemiah Polin, taught me that sometimes the first moment of deep love and appreciation in a close relationship comes on the heels of the first time the relationship is put to the test. This seems to be true for Moshe, whose blessing signifies him finally seeing the potential of the people Israel. This moment has even greater significance when seen in context, as this action of blessing of the people seems to inspire or maybe even anticipate God's commandment later in the Torah to bless the people Israel, giving that responsibility of serving as conduits of God's blessing to the Kohanim, the priests of Aharon. But even as Moshe's blessing sends us forward to this commandment in the Torah to bless Israel, this moment also sends us back to the very beginning of the Torah. The construction of the Mishkan, it has been noted, is kind of a mirror image of the work of God's work of creation. Just as God created the earth and all its features to allow humans to dwell in it, the Israelites have now reciprocated and created a similarly beautiful, ornate, but mortal construction of space on earth for God's presence to dwell, reconnecting heaven and earth, God and humanity. There's an interpretation in the Sifra, an early collection of Midrash on Leviticus, that makes this comparison directly. It says, the day that the Mishkan was set up was as joyous before God on high as the creation of heaven and earth. Creation, godly and human, are hereby essentially linked, with humans following in the footsteps of God, giving the Holy One as much joy as the day when the world was created. And of course, what does God do after both creating living beings and finishing the entirety of creation? God blesses God's creations and the day of rest itself. We learn then that blessing is somehow a natural reaction to the joy of seeing something through to its fruition, of witnessing the power of creation, its creators and their intentions, sending them forth positively into a new stage in their life. This is exactly the purpose, I think, of the blessing that I will, God willing, receive in just under 2 months from now. Whew. The blessing signals a change that is taking place, but it also comes upon the completion of great emotional and physical effort, like graduating high school or college, completing an artistic project, closing a hard-fought deal, or seeing our children off to college. There is great relief in the completion of a phase of life, but there is also great emotion and uncertainty in these moments as well. These are moments that don't just call for blessing, but they inspire human beings to bless and be blessed. And these blessings also signal a new phase in the relationship between the blesser and the blessed. When one of my rabbis gives me this bracha, our relationship will have shifted on the spectrum from teacher-student closer, maybe not all the way, but closer to the realm of colleagues. Moshe experienced this shift. For the first time, it seems, he sees the people not as a stiff-necked, constantly failing nuisance that he has been tasked to shepherd through the wilderness, but as a holy people, willing to repent for their biggest mistake by directing their energy towards the service of God. They went from having what theologian Martin Buber calls an I-it relationship to an I-thou relationship. Moshe sees no less than the godly spark in the people he is leading, and he is compelled to bless them. That same Midrash asks, with what blessing did Moshe bless them? He said to them, may the Shekhinah, the indwelling presence of God, rest on the work of your hands. I pray that God may rest also on the work of your hands. Whatever each of us is individually or collectively trying to build at this moment or in this stage in our lives, may our work be a Mishkan, a place where God's presence is drawn to dwell, and may it inspire others whom we know and those who we don't to be moved to bless us, bringing us into deeper, more meaningful relationships touched by God. Shabbat Shalom.